Dead.
Hello, everybody, and welcome back. Today, we're talking about Dark Souls 2, Scholar of the First Sin. Now, this is the only Dark Souls game I've never actually finished in its entirety. There's a lot of reasons for that. It's definitely my least favorite of the trilogy of Dark Souls games, but there's other reasons as well, which we will get into throughout the duration of this video. So, where do we start? Where do we start with Dark Souls 2? Dark Souls 2's reception was fairly mixed overall, back when it was new. It has absolutely found a following. There's a lot of people that truly adore it. And I do enjoy it overall. It's also like 86% positive on Steam overall. You know, it does a lot of things right. You know, it introduced dual-wielding weapons as a means of two-weaponed offense, as opposed to just two-handing. It also added in what ultimately became weapon arts, and I think that Dark Souls 2 actually did it a little bit better, personally, than the weapon arts. The weapon arts are cool and all in Dark Souls 3, but the stances, I think they are, in Dark Souls 2, I think they're referred to as stances, they are better. Now, with that said, Dark Souls 2 is also a lawless wasteland. It's flawed, and there's a lot to not like here as well. So, Dark Souls has always been notorious for holding its difficulty in grand bosses, challenging level design, and inconveniently positioned enemies. And a lot of people seem to feel that Dark Souls 2 achieves its difficulty by literally just throwing shit at you, and made it worse in Scholar of the First Sin. And to a degree, I agree, but I don't completely agree. So, to a degree, yes, they made it a little bit worse. Those big ogres, or whatever they're called, they put one of those right there in the river, right on your way into the first real area. So I feel like that's a little tasteless. The guy's a little tough, you know. Like, yeah, I mean, he's not the toughest thing ever, obviously. He's manageable. But he's just the fact that he's a respawning enemy that early. It'd be like in the first Dark Souls if that first Dark Knight that you encounter is precariously directly next to you, just outside of his aggro range, and also respawning, you know, in that sense anyway. So I can see that being kind of a poor choice, but in a lot of other ways, a lot of the updated enemy placements kind of make sense, so that's kind of cool. But this game is probably the most relentless of all of the Dark Souls games, because it just does not ever stop throwing shit at you. Ever. At any point. Even your safe town's not even technically safe. You're going to be wandering around looking for items. Some goddamn little pig thing's going to come fuck you up. And their hitbox is stupid. Damn near impossible to hit unless you're doing vertical attacks. But yeah, it is what it is, right? This is Dark Souls after all. See, I think that the issue that spawns these things is in a disconnect between the team that worked on this game and Miyazaki himself. Because Miyazaki did not work on Dark Souls 2. He worked on 1 and 3, though. And I think there was a disconnect in the idea of this team that, you know, Dark Souls is the game where you go to die over and over and over and over again. And whether or not that's true is irrelevant, because that's not how the first Dark Souls was marketed. I know that Steam here had the Prepare to Die edition, but like that's not the original marketing plan of the game. The game wasn't designed to be hard so that you die all the time. That was just something that was picked up thanks to all the memes and such that the game had established by being as notoriously difficult as it is. So they kind of doubled down on it on this game, trying to make Papa Miyazaki proud of them. And honestly, the game is solid. It tells a solid story. The storytelling, there's a little bit more active storytelling going on, but it is still primarily up to your own interpretation and primarily done through world building, such as item descriptions and such. So I kind of dig that. I'm content with that. I think that that is fine. Totally, totally fine. So that's one of the things that it does right. Another thing that it does right, Dark Souls 1 introduced dark magic in the DLC. Dark Souls 2 expanded on it with hexes. They gave it a dedicated classification of its spells. They added in the dark element as its own element, its own damage type that can be defended against by its own armor stats and such. And they really expanded on it, and this game has the best array of dark magic spells and hexes and such out of the whole franchise. They kind of they kind of introduced it in the Artorias DLC in the first Dark Souls, and then they kind of dropped the ball in Dark Souls 3. Like, it's there, it's fine, but like there's just not nearly as much spell variety as I would have liked. This game provides you that spell variety. Another thing, though, that this game does that I'm not exactly sure I agree with is, and this is kind of what comes to my mind when I say the game is a fucking lawless wasteland, is one of the things you can do is you can take a weapon and you can upgrade it at the blacksmith down a certain elemental path. Let's take my weapon of choice the last time I played this on my Xbox One, which was the Scythe of Nar Alma. This is a weapon that inherently has dark damage in it, built in. It's mild, but it's there. So I take it to the blacksmith and I upgrade it down the dark path. In this weapon's case, it didn't really lose out that much of the physical damage aspect. The scaling didn't suffer too much, and the base damage didn't really suffer either. But it gained a whole lot of dark damage. So it just became objectively better. But that's not the only thing that is makes it a lawless wasteland. So, like, because you can do that in Dark Souls 1 and Dark Souls 3 as well. Now, the thing that makes it a lawless wasteland is that you can still buff this weapon with spells and like powders and such. So I can take the Scythe of Nar Alma, which has built-in dark damage, upgrade it down the dark path, get even more built-in dark damage with minimal physical damage loss, and then cast Dark Blade on it to further increase that dark damage exponentially. So it's kind of a lawless wasteland in the world of like weapon elemental upgrading and stuff, but like, it is what it is, right? The other major flaw that this game has, in my personal opinion, is the soul system, the soul matching system. As opposed to Dark Souls 1 and 3, where your multiplayer pairing, or whatever, is done by like relative level within a give or take kind of range. This game does it in ranks based on how many souls you have collected over time. Now, that also factors in souls that have been lost forever, which means if you really suck at this game but you're really goddamn determined and you just lose every single soul that you've ever gotten for months, right? You've never leveled up, you've never bought any new equipment, never bought any arrows or anything like that, and you've made 1,000,000 souls and you just keep dropping them all at the same spot because that demon at the river is stupid, right? You'll get multiplayer paired with people who've collected 1,000,000 souls overall. So if you get paired with that super elite pro gamer, you know, if you happen to get paired up with XX 420 no scope 6969 XX, then like if he's invading you, you're fucked, because that means that we're looking at a player who has never spent a single soul in his entire gameplay and is very much basic character creation levels, and obviously sucks at the game, is facing off against somebody who's never lost a soul in his life and has spent all million of that souls purpose building his character specifically for PvP. That's a flaw. I think it's a flaw personally. I do not like that matchmaking system. I drastically prefer the other system by levels. Drastically prefer it. So, with that said, though, we've gone on and on and on and on and on and on about a lot of the negatives. We haven't really talked about the positives all too much. So, the gameplay is tight. The controls are tight. They feel decent. They don't feel as good as Dark Souls 3, but they feel better than Dark Souls 2. It's kind of like a natural progression, and that's fine. It's an upgrade over Dark Souls 1 as far as raw controls and functionality goes. As well as that, there's also good boss design, good level design, good DLC. This game has some of the better DLC in the franchise. The Ashes of Artorias DLC was it was solid. I would say it was solid, and that's about it. If maybe we'll do a video dedicated to the DLCs of these games, honestly, because there's a lot to say about each DLC of every game. And honestly, with this game, I haven't even done any of the DLCs, so I would love to have that motivation to make finally properly make my way through Dark Souls 2 and get to the DLCs and actually enjoy them, you know, because I know I've seen the beginning of the first one and it was hard. I wasn't ready at the time that I had done it, and that's fine. It happens, you know. But Dark Souls 3 has 2 great DLCs. The second one, the Ring City, is especially good. Sorry, Scholar of the First Sin. Even after Ashes of Ariandel had shown up as the first Dark Souls 3 DLC, it still wasn't as good as Dark Souls 2 DLCs in the eyes of the community. And then Ring City shows up like, alright, hold my souls, and kind of just showed everybody how it is. How you do a Dark Souls DLC. That was the best Dark Souls DLC in my opinion. But like I said, I'm thinking we should do a video dedicated to each of the games and their DLCs, because we've already done this is the 3rd Dark Souls video. This is like the 4th Dark Souls video, because we did one on PvP for Dark Souls 3. That's another thing. If I can find like arena matches down the line on my way through this game, I may do a PvP video. There's a lot to say about that. Dark Souls PvP is a culture in and of itself. I always build my characters to be 100% focused on PvP, and that makes PvE quite a bit more difficult for me sometimes, but that's okay. I like the challenge, and it makes it that much more satisfying to come out on top when I inevitably do come out on top, because I'm a boss, just like that. And hey, that gives us more content. I don't have to ham-fist every detail of these games that I cherish into one video. I know these Dark Souls videos do tend to run a bit long, you know. Speaking of, this one's already longer than most of my videos, so like, the proof is in the pudding, my dudes. But back on track, let's keep talking about Scholar of the First Sin. This game is still $40. $40 on Steam. If you have the regular version of Dark Souls 2 and you want the Scholar of the First Sin upgrade pack, it's $30. Why is it only $10 less? Okay, that's a flaw, I guess. I guess you could say that's a flaw. I feel like it should be cheaper, but, you know, it is what it is. The game is good, though. The game is good overall, collectively. I do recommend it. It's a Dark Souls experience. It's very different. Torches are a thing. You have to worry about that. You have to worry about choosing. Do you want a shield, or do you want to be able to see what you're doing? That's a decision that wasn't needed to be made in the past, and now it is. So, very good stuff overall, but we're going to call it here. We'll look into this game again. We may look into the DLCs. We may just dig into it a second time just because there's a lot to say. We may dig into the PvP. The world will never know until it happens. Anyhow, thank you for going on this adventure with me. I absolutely love these Dark Souls games. I adore them. I've spent so much time with them, and I love sharing my interest in them with all of you. Take care of yourselves and take care of each other, of course, as always. Feel free to like, comment, subscribe, dislike if I think I've earned it. Grease the bell button a little bit. You know, maybe you don't like Dark Souls, maybe you do like Dark Souls. Let's have a conversation about it. Yeah, with that said, I will fucking see you later.